Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. Yours truly, Puma, along with Ice Water. Black is making sure the good people in the tri-state get home on time with the storm coming through there. But we're going to pick up the slack and keep the train rolling with hot topics. Ice, I was able to see Osaka and Williams go at it yesterday. I even skipped an NBA game just to watch the whole match. It was an exciting match. Only took 2 sets. My assessment of it is Naomi is a better player than she was last year in the last 2 years. And she was hitting Serena with some shots where Serena just couldn't move and couldn't react. And a lot of people are kind of saying that, oh, Serena's going to kind of take this as the last time she goes to the Australian Open and all this other stuff. I think she's going to stick around for a while, but I'm really kind of thinking that she's really kind of getting to the point at 39, which is a really ripe age to be playing tennis competitively the way she has. I don't think she's going to walk away too soon. I don't know. I didn't read too much into her farewell wave at the Australian Open. But what's your assessment of the Osaka Williams tennis match last night?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that you think about the coming of the new guard and then leaving of the old guard, right? So these two individuals were matched up, and Osaka has improved dramatically. And then, of course, you know how it is, especially with the media. They like to look at to see if Serena is declining. Is this her last real opportunity to be at the Australian, Open, what have you? But that's speculation because people quick want to say, "Oh, she's done," and they want to be the first ones to say so. But no one knows.
Right.
Not to Serena. Yeah, she's older, and like she says, the one thing in the press conference when she lost, she said, "I can't do it anymore. She ran out because she was frustrated because she wanted to play well."
Mm-hmm.
But she says, "If I'm done, you won't know. I won't tell you." And that's her right. She's a legend, man. She's a great tennis player, so she's earned that right. But in regards to the match, what can you say? Uh, Young Asaki is it's my time, and she flourished, and it happens. But that does not mean Serena Williams is done. If she is, nobody knows, and she has the right to take her time. It's like anything in any sport: baseball, football, basketball, any sport, women's soccer. The individual athlete will know when it's time. And sometimes it's hard to accept the fact they might go down in flames a lot harder than what they are accustomed to doing when they compete. But for the most part, it's her call.
Yeah.
And I think if you really respect her, which I'm not sure the media is just trying to get a story, but if most people really respect her, let her go out on her own terms. And I think she's deserving of that, if nothing else.
Very deserving of it. And like I said, for her to get to that point, to get almost a game to the final, she is not she is not out of the picture at all. I mean, I saw some of her other matches, and even my pop, who was a tennis enthusiast, he was saying, "Man, she looks good. She looks really good. She's got in shape." But Osaki was just a little bit too much. And you could see where Serena was trying to force her will. And Osaki was like, "No, I'm not going to bend down. This is my match. I'm going to the finals." And you could just see the maturity of Osaki. You could just see that she is just a much better player. And maybe I would say that number 3 should turn into number 1. And we'll see on Saturday if she can bring it home. The next topic, we witnessed a fight last Saturday in the UFC with Usman and Burns. And Usman is already saying he wants Masvidal. And he is, to me, the next guy in the UFC that's supposed to be big. But who else other than Masvidal for this guy? Because I think he can take on all comers.
Yeah, well, I mean, Usman can fight against a number of people. Of course, you always look at depends on where he's at welterweight. I mean, you can always throw that name, Conor McGregor, something like that. But we know how that goes. That name is just an easy one to throw out. But you got older guys like Nate Diaz and stuff like that too. But when you look at the younger guys, there are a couple other guys that can come out too. So that's the thing about the UFC. I think the best thing to do is wait and see what Usman wants to do. And then you have what is our fella, your boy that retired for a minute,
Khabib.
Khabib, yeah. But Khabib is a bigger guy,
Yeah.
right? He's a heavier guy, so he's more of a kind of more middleweight, and then to jump up from welterweight, or he would come down, which I think he said he would. That's always an intriguing fight. But if I was Usman, I would sit back and wait and let things play themselves out, right? You don't have to rush back in the ring. Let some of the other guys jump around and show you that they're worthy. And you're not going to fight a guy. Notice they haven't mentioned Conor McGregor or anything like that too because of the loss that he had, which means he would have to fight again. But maybe was it Poirier that kind of beat Conor McGregor? I mean, there might be something there. So Usman is in the driver's seat right now. And the thing about Masvidal, of course, they fought before, and Masvidal is kind of like, you know what, you weren't really all that before. Now you say you really the dude, and Masvidal is playing him like he's not really a big deal at all.
Right.
But if the money's right, Usman will get that fight. But Usman has to stay consistent and prove that he's the guy. Now he looks like the guy, he sounds like the guy, but we know next steps to as far as really marquee talent, the Masvidals and whoever it may be, he's going to have to continue to show that in order for him to get the true respect that he's looking for.
I'm looking for that fight to happen. I'm really looking forward to that fight to happen because I always like Masvidal and his swagger and him just going after folks. But Usman fought one of his best friends, his training partner. He fought this guy in sparring for hours and hours and hours. And he went in there with no mercy. It was like, this is mine. I got to take it. And if somebody going in there and do that to their friend, imagine what they do to an enemy. And so Masvidal seems like an enemy to him. So this is a fight that I want to see. Make it happen. Last week, man, it was my fault, man. I missed this, man. Leon Spinks passed away a couple of weeks ago. And, I know I failed to mention it, but I remember back in February of 1978, living with my grandmother and my mother and watching the fight that Ali should have won because, you rarely saw Ali in a primetime fight where it wasn't kind of pay-per-view or circuit TV back in those days. And it was on NBC and Leon Spinks was just kind of giving it to him. So you're expecting after like the 6th, 7th round, okay, Ali's going to rally, take this, and then, it's going to be, all the bragging, and it wasn't happening. And bro, I remember tears in my eyes when they announced the new heavyweight champion, Leon Spinks. And I can still see it vividly. They're hoisting Leon Spinks and Leon just celebrating, and probably the highlight of his career. And even though he won that fight and Ali is my hero, it was just something about Leon Spinks you just couldn't hate. And the media kind of, soaked them all up. A lot of people made fun of him, but he passed away. Probably didn't have the heavyweight career that he was supposed to have. But I also remember him in the Olympics, the Spinks Jinx. And so I want you to say a few words about Leon Spinks and his passing.
Yeah, Leon Spinks is one of my favorites in the 1976 Olympic boxing team, which is my favorite team.
Yeah, ever.
I mean, I know they talk about 84, but I remember as a kid watching that down in between the events at the family reunion down in Goodwater, Alabama. Blazing sun in a little small hotel room watching replays of the fights. And Leon Spinks was so solid because he wasn't the biggest guy, in particular when you think about he's fighting at light heavyweight. So he always had to have his head down, looked like a bigger guy might really knock him out. But Leon was really very strong when he added to the Olympic team with his brother Michael. You think about Howard Davis. You think about the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard. I think Biggs is on there as well. But you think with Howard Davis that had to defeat Thomas Hearns and Aaron Pryor to get to that berth. That said a lot about that team. And I love that team. And so that whole group I really was excited about. And I just like Leon because Leon was a straight tough guy. Wasn't nothing pretty really about Leon, right? Wasn't it? I mean, let's be real. He was a nice guy, but you wouldn't go, oh man, that's a handsome dude. He wasn't Ali, he wasn't Sugar Ray Leonard, but he was just a great fighter, and he was pretty genuine about it. So you wanted to see him fight and see him win. And ironically about this, when he fought Ali the first time, you know, that was only 8 months after the Olympic Games, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a long time. And you thought about it, I thought about it, I said, well, he's fighting Ali. How the hell did he get that opportunity? And he jumped in. And I didn't, personally, I did not want to see the fight because Ali is my favorite of all time. And I enjoyed Leon Spinks. It was like, why? Why do I have to fight? I mean, Ali's in a long way in his career. I don't want to have to choose. I don't want to have to choose. I never want to see Ali lose, but I also did not want to see Leon Spinks get destroyed. I didn't understand as a in a selfish standpoint why they had to fight. So they fought. But Leon won the fight. It was amazing. Anytime you can beat a champion in Ali, the greatest of all time,
Mm-hmm.
it really marked, it was major for him. And what was really sad about this, after that, Leon kind of lost his way from the standpoint of really getting opportunities. Because you think about it, he and Michael like really set the tone as being truly like maybe one of the first brothers or the only brothers besides the Klitschko's to be a heavyweight champion.
Right.
And from that standpoint, but then after he beat Ali, then he ended up losing that belt because he would not. He did not. I'm not saying retain it, but he did not defend it against Ken Norton.
Yeah.
So he was stripped of the title. And then, of course, when he had the rematch with Ali, then that was for another title. It wasn't the one that he had. And then at that point, it just kind of went downhill because as you think about the rematch from that standpoint, Ali did win that rematch. And ironically, here's something people don't understand or don't know. Remember, the fight when Ali won the rematch, right, was Ali's last win as a professional fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. I'm glad you
That, that,
pointed it out. Yeah.
that was huge. That was his Ali's last win, and against Spinks was major. And then of course he goes on to fight and lose to Larry Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he drops back down. He drops down to I think it was either light heavy or maybe even cruiser and fought Dwight Muhammad Kwawi. And he kind of got beat down. Things just changed. Life went crazy for him, and he just wasn't the same guy. But regardless of the fact, regardless of how life kind of threw things at him crazy, he still was an overall good guy. Noble dude, maybe just got caught up with some wrong people. And as I get off of this, I think the one thing we need to realize is the factor that he was an Olympic champion, he was a heavyweight champion. Also, too, he was a former Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had a lot going on for himself and a solid dude. May not be considered one of the greatest of all times, but he was, like he said, after he beat Ali, he said, I'm not the greatest, I'm just the latest.
Always a good sense of humor. That smile with the missing tooth. I mean, you could not be mad at him. He was never anybody's enemy. He had a 26-17-3 record with 14 knockouts. In 2017, he was inducted to the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. And can you imagine fighting your idol and beating him for the heavyweight champion? And that's like the highest you can probably get in your career. And what else is there left to do after you do that? So, safe passage, rest in peace. Next on tap is the death of Vincent Jackson. And there was a video by Ryan Leaf about, and he was really directing to the NFL, not taking care of NFL players after they play and mental health issues. And I'm not really sure what happened to cause Vincent Jackson's death, a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer and San Diego Charger receiver. But it seems like, the first thing I think of when I think of an NFL player dying this young or dying at all, and the circumstances aren't really clear, is concussions and mental health. And so I'm kind of waiting. I don't know. That's why I'm saying this. I don't know the reasons of why he's not with us now. But Ryan Leaf seems to know a little bit more than we do about the mental health of NFL players and how, in his eyes, the NFL drops the ball on this.
Yeah, very sad to hear about Vincent Jackson. Very reliable receiver, playing with Tampa Bay and also with the Chargers. Very reliable type of guy. And then, as you mentioned about mental health is very major. I think there was also some mention about alcoholism.
Hmm.
Oftentimes, oftentimes people that have mental health issues dive into alcoholism because that's kind of their a way, a refuge to kind of
Medicaid.
yeah, kind of medicate, self-medicate to kind of forget their problems and issues. And then when you notice that he had a family, with was married, wife and kids, and then you end up seeing him in a place, perhaps like at a hotel or wherever by himself,
Yeah.
shows you that he has some issues that he really was dealing with. In regards to the NFL, paying attention to these men, and he's very young as far as at that age. You're as good as your last game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You really are. And they really say, well, he can hang around, we keep him around, whatever, maybe do some ambassador type things. But you really don't know how deep a person's pain goes. We talk about Junior Seau. You mentioned about concussions. I mean, he had everything. Junior Seau was great in business. He had some other stuff going on. But when you are dealing with something like that, you don't know what's going on in the brain. And if your brain is really hurting, sometimes there's no recovery, or there's no anything, there's no medication that can soothe you. And I think the NFL, if nothing else, and I'm not sure if they do it or not, but they should definitely look into a wider, stronger medical plan to get these guys the help that they need. And I think they're just more involved. And you can say, well, they're doing a little bit here and there, but why should a guy have to wait and wait and wait
Yeah.
for these services? The money's there, okay? Let's be real. They throw money and royalties so much on other things that you spend a bunch of money on the point you could literally take the money that they receive from that great national anthem type situation that they have and share some of that money with some of the retired guys to really look after them. So you can do that, and I think they can. I think they should, because no matter how you look at it, how you say it, without the players, the NFL is nothing. Is nothing, and they have so many different ways to make money that even if you had some guys like a Patrick Mahomes or somebody come out, do some signings or sell some jerseys, you could raise enough capital that could be matched by the owners to take care of some of these older players, because sometimes they come off the field and they had nothing else to turn to, had nothing to keep them busy. Even though much they have a great career and a great family and whatnot, sometimes it's just enough. It's not enough because of the factor that they don't have. They miss the cheers. You don't know what's going on, and they need to be, some of them, psychologically evaluated.
Right.
But we take it for granted. Oh, he played in the game, must be good, right? He got money.
All money. Yeah.
It's
Saved up. Yeah.
deeper than that, man. Especially when you spend so much time of your life on a football field.
Yeah. Some of the hashtags that he put in his video, Ryan Leaf, is I got your hashtag I got your back, and hashtag NFL Brotherhood, imploring not only the NFL and the Players Association to look after the brethren in the NFL, but players to check on each other and be there for each other, because it's one thing when you're in that locker room and everybody sees you every day, but once it's over, I think for most of players, what I hear from interviews is they miss the camaraderie in the locker room. They miss that everyday contact with their brothers, and when they don't get it, sometimes you have a lost sheep, and they lose their way, and this happens. So that's really sad. And when I saw that video, I read the article, but when I saw Ryan Leaf, and Ryan Leaf has had his own issues, and I think some of his teammates should be checking on him also. That really hit me when he did that. Another thing that hit me, because we all, me, you, and Black, have lost our mothers. Jalen Rose lost his mother last week, the former NBA player, member of the Fab Five, and ESPN sports personality, lost his mother. And we all know that pain. But if you ever see that 30 for 30, the Fab Five, and really kind of pay attention to Jalen Rose and how he spoke so highly of his mother, and if it wasn't for his mother, he wouldn't be the person he is today. You know that Um, sometimes mama's boy gets a negative connotation. I don't mind it. I was a mama's boy. I was a daddy's boy, but love my mama, still love her today, think about her every day. But prayers and condolences to Jalen Rose. I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Yeah, anytime you think about losing your mom, because you know that pain is like no other. A lot of people don't understand it. Some people have their mothers for short periods of time, some people longer. But regardless, when you lose your mom, it still hurts because that's something you can't replace. And what's ironic about Jalen Rose is, you know, his story. You know, you talk about the Fab Five and him coming up and him really not connecting with his dad, right?
Yeah.
Really, you know, his dad not really being in his life early, coming in later on. His mother had to continue to raise him and for him to be a strong young man. And sure, he's had other influences in his life as far as male role models to help him along. I think it was his was it Perry Watson. I think his high school basketball coach ended up being a far as a assistant at Michigan when he was
Yes.
there as well. But guys like that, but still knowing that his dad, who was Jimmy Walker, was a hell of a basketball player, which is ironic that his dad was good enough to even participate. I think he was around the early 70s. His dad was a hell of a player. I think he was an all-star 71, 72. I ended up watching one of the old NBA All-Star games and he came out there. I said, damn, that's Jalen Rose's dad. But knowing that, missing that having that void in your life of your father not being there, and then your mother having to step in and making sure that you're good and taking care of you and allowing you to be that mama's boy until you can grow into a man says a lot. So I know he's in very much some very tough pain right now because of the influence that she had on his life and what she did for him. She allowed him to live his dream and live a dream that allowed him to be financially set for years, take care of his family, and I'm sure he took care of his mom as well. So she opened the door where if she would have dropped the ball, uh, then what happens then? So I pay homage to their relationship, and definitely send prayers and comfort to him as he deals with such a major tragedy. You know, I think we take things for granted so much that you don't know when somebody's hurting or pain. You think money covers up everything and covers and it covers you and keeps you away from pain because you have more money. I mean, you ask Carl Anthony Towns right now
Yeah.
about his mom. I don't care how much money you have, the pain is unbearable.
Yeah. Once I was told that grief is love that has nowhere to go. But eventually, as you live and you go on this journey, you find somewhere to place it. And I know with me losing my mom, I try to honor her in different ways and think about what she would want me to do in life. And anytime I get low, I think about the good times and the words of advice and the pat on the shoulders, the hugs, and things of that sort to keep me going. So prayers and condolences to you, sir, and the rest of the family as we transition to the NBA, man. Um, I was watching the game last night, not last night, but it might have happened last night, Brooklyn and Phoenix. And Phoenix does the same thing at the end of the game. It seems like they're beating teams and then they let them back in the game. And guess who has the ball in the last few minutes and gives up the lead? Your boy, Chris Paul. Instead of letting Booker do his thing and then letting Ayton get him down there to get high percentage shots. And one of the pet peeves I have is the one and done. These players get into the league and they don't have the skills to do it. Why would Phoenix put Ayton on and Harden and then let him get hot towards the end of the game and pull that game out? But there have been some other games that I saw with Philly. I still don't trust Philly. I don't care what happens with them. I still don't trust them. They had a great game, and Ben Simmons was not playing. But one of the things I'm noticing about Ben Simmons, he'll have one or two good games, and he'll start getting on social media and bragging about it. And like, bruh, we need consistency from you. But he did play center in one of the games last week and did a good job. I guess they're listening to this show because that's what I've been saying, power forward, center, and get him off the ball and let the point guard kind of direct the offense. And lo and behold, the New York Knicks are at number 6 in the conference. I might have to bite my tongue, but we'll see. But I heard that there is talk to try to move Randall. So it's like the Knicks will get a good thing, and they just can't. They're not used to having a good thing, and I don't know if they're just putting him out there to see how much value they can get out of him. But I don't know. I don't know. That's why it's so hard to be a Knicks fan. And Chicago has kind of fallen to number 9. Atlanta, even though you have Trey going out there doing his thing, they're still not a competitive team. Miami is still a disappointment. Washington is a big disappointment with the trade with Westbrook. And now they're sitting Griffin in Detroit, trying to look for a trade for him. Utah is still rolling. The Lakers are still rolling. And I think they have a game with the Clippers coming up pretty soon. Portland is coming on, which I'm very surprised because last year I expected them to be where they are this year, but now they're coming on, and I think they're 8-2 in their last 10. So there's some surprises. Golden State, didn't expect them to be there at number 7 right now. Denver, I expected it to be higher, and I guess I'm getting caught up in the illusion of the bubble last year. Now I'm expecting teams to take the next step, and it's just not happening. They're talking about all-star break. They're talking about all this other stuff. Give me your eye test on the NBA, bro.
Man, you just kind of covered a lot. I was looking down my notes trying to figure out what he did a great job. But I want to look when I look at the East. One thing that sticks out for me, you got to give it up to Doc Rivers that really finds a way to have that team given all that they had. They may not be the most talented team, but you got to take your hat off for Doc Rivers to being able to make sure that they're atop the East right now, which says a lot. And again, I tried to warn you. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Milwaukee, man, I just maybe the factor that if Milwaukee does not finish first in the East might be a good thing for them.
Yeah, I think it will be a good thing for them.
But I think the factor that they carry that burden of being number 1, the number 1 seed, oftentimes, but I think they're showing us that they still don't have enough pieces. So we'll see what happens there. And you just love them, hate them, or just want to close your eyes and be mad at them. Number 2 is Brooklyn, bro. Number 2. I had a young man tell me, well, Brooklyn, he's a Philly fan. He says, well, Brooklyn doesn't play defense. I said, not many teams in the NBA play defense. I said, not in today's NBA. I said, but that 3-headed monster of Durant, Harden, and then of course of Irving, it keeps them in play. And all they had to do is stay close. That's why they are a very solid choice to possibly win the East. Because when the money's on, you might say Harden is going to disappear, okay, but you still have Irving and Durant that can go get it. They can go get it, and it depends on the way that we know about the East. Who's going to step up? Is Giannis going to step up? We've been waiting, right? Is it his time? We just don't know. So don't just discard Brooklyn just because you may not like them because they jumped ship and all the teammates and everybody friends played together. That's your own personal bias. I ain't mad at you, but you got to give it up when the point of what those guys are doing and what they're capable of. And again, they're sitting at the second spot in the East. But going to the West, I mean, Utah is looking well, doing what they do. But again, like I said, regular season. What really does that mean?
Yeah.
Do they give out lollipops for being number 1 seed? But what do you do with it? And right behind them, of course, is the Lakers. Even with Anthony Davis being out a little bit, and LeBron still have enough on the roster to keep it there. And then another team that everybody loves to hate, the Clippers are number 3, right? So even with sending out, the beautiful thing about the Clippers is even with sending out Kawhi, right, and sending out Paul George, you can bring Lou Williams, who said he wish he could start every game when he just come out the bench because that's what they need him to do. He'll drop 35 and blink his eyes. Then Morris to come and do something else. They have so many different weapons, so much talent on that team that they just find ways to get it going. And then now you got Ibaka that is really kind of playing on his mind because he likes playing with Leonard. And there's a lot of things there. So that's where they're at 3. So, and the rest of it just goes on and on, kind of see who's playing here, who's playing there. But one person even though his team, I think they're not playing as well. And I think I mentioned to you before, when Denver lost uh, Grant,
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Grant is in Detroit now, and he's becoming a force. He's becoming one of their guys over there. I think that really hurt them because he was like that number 3 guy that you could count on besides Murray and then the Joker. But I had to tell you right now, I've been watching him off and on. I didn't want to give him his love, but I'm gonna give it up to him. And I'm not saying I'm picking the MVP right now, but damn it, that Joker, man.
Oh yeah.
Oakland
Yeah.
is 6'11", 284. Let me tell you this real quick. This is after he is averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's almost become like a triple-double machine. But the way it goes is I think he's since the new year, he has scored 35 points 4 times. He had 38-point game. He had a 47-point game. He had a 43-point game, and he had a 50-point. I think he had like 250, almost 250s. This dude, man, he is just nasty. I at first I was like, it was the Clippers. They really didn't play hard. Now the Joker is the real deal, and he is must see TV. I'm telling you say about a lot of other people, I've tried to push him off, but that damn Joker is a baller, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna watch him the rest of the way because I am so impressed by the effort that he puts in night in and night out.
You know who he reminds me of? You can go down to the YMCA, and there's an older dude there, with probably the black socks, probably the old Chuck Taylors, and you don't think much of his game. You're picking a team, and you don't pick him, and he gets the next, and he runs, and he just got that old man game, man. He just got the old man game that's gonna beat you, that's gonna find a way to beat you, and you're like, dang. Who can guard him? Somebody get on him. Somebody stop him. And you just can't do it, bro. I mean, when I watch him, I think about the times being at the gym or the YMCA and seeing guys like that just kill guys every night, every game. But yeah, you got that right. He is one of those guys that he's so overlooked. He's so overlooked. He can pass, he can defend, he can shoot. His footwork looks a little uncoordinated, but he gets the job done. And the shots don't look pretty, but he's getting buckets. Like Bill Russell says, it's all about getting buckets. And that's what he does.
The Joker's special, man. I mean, when I sit there and go like, oh my God, I'm checking the box scores. I said, who they play? The Joker had 43? Like, Joker? Dude, you 6'11", 284, Joker. What are you doing?
Get your man. You're yelling. Get your man, and you can't guard him.
Yeah, I wish they had more talent over there. Not saying that they don't, because I like with the Will Barton coming back and like that, but they just still missing that energy guy like Grant and the tweener. And you can't have everybody, 2 guys carrying the load by themselves. Mm-hmm. But who knows? Maybe during the trade deadline they'll pick somebody up. But I just gotta give it up to the Joker, man. Nikola of Jokic, the Joker, bro, is a baller. You remind me of old back in the day with Kevin McHale type dude. Yeah. Kevin McHale with a jumper. Did you hear me? That's even worse. Kevin McHale with a jumper, bro. You feel me? Kevin McHale with a jumper. Damn, that's nasty.
Yeah. We're going to transition into college basketball. And first, I want to talk about the story of Jalen Johnson, man. I'm working on an article on the one and dones and how it's kind of messing up the NBA game. And here you have a guy who played for Duke, played about 11 games at Duke, and he decides, hey, I have an injured foot, but I'm really trying to prepare for the NBA now. I think he averages about 11 points, maybe 6 rebounds a game. He's projected to be number 6 in the NFL draft picks this year, and it just seems like it's not it's not really kind of a surprise that teams like Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, the one and done teams are really suffering this year because they'll get players that are McDonald's All-Americans, and they're getting their TV exposure with these colleges, and they're moving right along in the pro game. And sometimes you hear about them, sometimes you don't. But what do you think about Jalen Johnson's, I'm sorry, decision on going into the NBA and just saying, you know, I'm opting out the rest of the season at Duke?
Yeah, I think it's caught a lot of people by surprise because it's Duke, right? And you're like, why? How dare you sit out the rest of the year at Duke, the great Duke program? But you're starting to see that what this pandemic has meant to a lot of these teams, they have been able to practice. Kids are not thinking about things the same way as before, having always to test. I think to the point that is even really wore down coaches like Mike Krzyzewski. They're not giving him an out or a pass or anything like that, too. But they just don't know what the hell to do because you kids are in, they're on, they're off. They don't know what's going on and how bad do they really want to play. And then when you have a young man like this that has an opportunity to think about going to the league, and they're not winning the way he expected to at Duke, then it's like it's easy to go. I mean, hell, we ain't winning, so I might as well go and get ready to go to the league. But I tell you what, would the same attitude would it be the same? Would he have the same attitude if they were winning? If
Mm.
it's regular Duke team that we normally see in the top 5 and the top 10, and they're playing great basketball, and Coach K is excited about it, and they're moving forward, and maybe they have Final Four aspirations and all that hype and everything, then does he still make the same decision? Maybe, maybe not, but that's his prerogative. I think that is an interesting perspective to me. But when you're not winning, it's easy to kind of go, you know what? I think I'm gonna just go over here and work on my game. And when Coach K starts giving out breaks because he said they testing positive, and it's almost not saying he's giving up, but it's like, damn, that's not the regular Coach K. Maybe they just are blowing off this year to say one is not, it doesn't count against the athlete's eligibility year, right? So
Yeah.
maybe they're just kind of just wiping it out and going, hey man, we're gonna go out here and finish the game, the year out. If we make it, great. If we don't, we'll just do it. We'll have a do-over because nothing's been normal. And I think that's how they wipe the slate clean. So I mean, kudos to him to doing what he has to do. But I've heard that it's been interesting, the relationship between Duke and his family, as far as what they want to do, and you know how that is. We're not feeling like we got treated a certain kind of way. You know, we've heard rumblings about that before from other players about the Duke program lately. But hey, the beautiful thing about this is the athlete has the right to do what he wants to do in this situation. And granted, he might receive some criticism from what he's doing, but you have to take care of yourself. I would never begrudge an athlete from saying, here's what I need to do. Maybe you find a better way to do it to kind of lessen the blow, but hell, coaches don't do it either. When they gone, right?
Yeah.
So, so why can't you be mad at this young man? I just say, whatever he's doing, make sure he's healthy. And I hope that he's making some wise decisions and really focusing on getting better and being in a good spot as he does prepare for the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind the move at all. You know, you're right, you got to take care of yourself. The thing is that one of the things that I really kind of look at is college athletes not being ready for the professional level. And so that's my only concern with this. I know he wants to get in the NBA and maybe develop more in the NBA. I was trying to watch a G League game earlier this week and couldn't do it. There's so many people there that you're like, man, I didn't know they were there because you forget about them coming out of college. But a lot of them are stuck in the G League and then they're not making it to the next level. And you can see that their development is still stunning. So that's the only thing that I kind of look towards, look to when I see a lot of the one and dones or folks are saying, hey, I'm going to opt out, things of that sort. The skills are still not ready for the NBA. And what I'm seeing is that the play in the NBA is suffering from that because it's hard to look at an NBA game and see some of the lack of skills and lack of discipline and lack of development. You see it in college, but not in the NBA. Let's look at I think the only switch in the women's college basketball rankings is the UConn Huskies. The women's Huskies have made it to number one. I
Ooh.
think South Carolina number two. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think I read that that was the only switch because they beat South Carolina the week before. But in the men's basketball, the same four teams hold on to their four spots, which are looking like the number one seeds right now with Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan, and Ohio State, followed by Illinois, who's clipped up one more spot to number 5. followed by Houston, Virginia, Alabama, Oklahoma. Villanova dropped 5 spots to number 10. Iowa's playing tonight, and they're playing Wisconsin. I think they're holding. They're pretty good, 70 to 54 right now, with about 3 minutes left to go in the game. So look for them to hold that spot at number 11 or increase that spot next week. Also, they're followed by Texas, number 12. West Virginia, Creighton out of Nebraska, moves up 5 spots to number 14. Texas Tech moves down 8 spots. Florida State, who had a good game against Virginia. I was expecting Virginia to show up and show out in that game, but Florida State was just too much for them to handle. And they move up to number 16, USC 17, followed by Virginia Tech, Tennessee, Missouri, drops 10 spots down. Wisconsin, Loyola of Chicago, holding that 22 spot. Remember, they made that Final Four run a few years ago. Kansas moved up 10 spots, gets their way back into the top 25, followed by Arkansas and San Diego State. I really like San Diego State. They're a good team. They play Fresno State tonight. Hopefully, I can watch that game while I'm editing this show. Your thoughts and your eye test on college basketball.
The West Coast correspondent, there he is, baby. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. You mentioned again, you did a great job talking about it. What I'm surprised by is the fact that when I kind of glanced at that top 5 before we came on here, and I was like, how in the hell is Michigan, Ohio State, Illinois in the top 5?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, 3 Big Ten teams in the top 5?
I keep telling you, 10 of them are going to get in because that's a tough conference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still holding on at 8 or 9, right? But you might be right. But the fact that 3 of the Big Ten teams are in the top 5, especially Illinois. I like Illinois. I know I'm from Ohio, but there's something about that Illinois team and the big fella in the middle. I like the way that they play basketball. I like their coach. I remember when they first signed the coach. He came in from smaller school, but he had a lot of experience and he just needed to get the right players. And I think he has them. So I'm looking forward to seeing where Illinois goes and who they have to face. But they can play. They have the potential to play some really good basketball. But a lot of stuff going on too. You have Michigan and Rutgers. I think they're playing tonight as well. I'm not sure what the score is. You know who's winning that game?
No, I don't at this particular point.
Right, but I know that's going to be a good game there because Rutgers always finds a way to kind of hang around. Been doing that all year with the Big Ten. Certain teams they handle, and then other teams they kind of go, how the hell did you beat Rutgers? Rutgers try to give Illinois all they wanted, right? Ohio State beat them. But there's a lot of good teams out there too. Great game coming up, Ohio State, Michigan on Sunday. Yeah, that's going to be a very good game. Ohio State's been playing real well, digging down deep and hard, but now they get a real challenge against a Michigan team that's coming off a lot of rest, but they are seem to turn it around against Wisconsin. That's going to be those 2 of those top teams, top 4 teams in that top 4 you mentioned will be playing against one another. I just think overall, still Baylor. I'm not mad, but I'm just disappointed that we didn't get to see Baylor and Gonzaga. I mean, I think that they should just stop the season and let them play exhibition. So who the better team is, because that's one of the key postponed games that I think we missed out on. I think it would have told a lot about both teams, and it would have helped in the NCAA tournament as we start to get ready for projections. But then on the other hand, because we didn't have that game, it just keeps it wide open because it makes you guess as to which one could probably be the better team and how do they move forward. But I'm excited because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Even though the season's been kind of shaky with a lot of postponed and missed games, right now it's starting to tighten up and getting ready for the big time. You got teams like Minnesota, right? Minnesota will be playing Illinois like here pretty soon. They're not playing and then getting it in. So there's like those other outside teams that you mentioned that are really going to be vying to try to make it happen. I was really concerned. I didn't know if they were going to have the conference tournaments, but it appears as a lot of them are going to move forward with those. But this is coming up quick because you look at it now, it's February 18th as we do this show.
Oh, this is the time to do it. I mean,
So
this is the scheduled time to do it. Yeah.
when you see that though, right now, I mean, stuff is coming up real quick, and before you know it, we're gonna be talking about March Madness, man. And I'm like, somebody said we're gonna have March Madness, but that's okay. But I'm just, but I'm glad that we are moving forward. As I told the folks before, I think this is gonna be a hell of a tournament because when you what you think you know and what the regulars are gonna be solid, it's not normal.
Yeah.
We might have an NCAA tournament without Kentucky, without Duke, and maybe without North Carolina.
Yeah.
You might have a tournament with that. And then what does that mean? To me, I think it's great because this is the time where San Diego State could rise up, right? This is the time where another team, a Creighton, if somebody could upset somebody, or Loyola Chicago could make a run, or a team like Minnesota or Illinois could go like, okay. And even though we have the top two teams that we consider the best in the land right now, I think it is a great chance and opportunity uh, for the underdog to come up and show their wares. Kind of like them three Tampa teams in the sports world making it
Here we go.
pretty good.
Here we go. The interesting thing I heard today is that the NBA is trying to do their All Star game on, I think, March 7th, right smack dab into March Madness. I don't think that's going to fare well for them. I really don't, because the game means nothing. But now you're matched up against games that one and that's single elimination games. Uh, I'm not thinking about the NBA at that particular time, watching an All Star game or the NBA. At this particular point in the season, I rarely watch an NBA game when college is in session and they're trying to make their way into March Madness. It's just too many games to watch, too many competitive games to watch. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. Let's go to NFL news, man. The Jacksonville Jaguars, bro. Uh, ah, with the strength coach. This is what I read. The strength coach, he resigns, but he gets $1 million package, resignation package. And so he really didn't need to work. But I'm trying to figure out, how does that work? You get a resignation package when you really didn't do any work. And so I don't know if he had it signed in his contract. I don't know if they knew of this happening, but it just seems like um, Coach Meyer is kind of showing how green he is in the NFL. And for my take, I think he's going to have to do a lot to gain the trust of this team right now, because basically he just said he vetted this particular guy. He's changing the uniforms, which you're sure right to do, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's going to take off as well as he thought he was going to take off when he took this job. Almost like he said, I'm going to come in, do my thing, and I'm going to set the NFL on fire. But it's like, this is not the same NFL and the same attitudes that you faced in college. You don't have carte blanche where you could do everything and everybody's going to be on board. You really have to earn your keep, especially when players know that you haven't coached a day in the NFL.
Yeah, but it's a different animal. And see, that's what is bizarre to me. Everybody has an idea what they think Urban Meyer is going to do. You don't know. It's an unknown. He's never coached the NFL. Doesn't mean he can't be good, which is the key. The key for him is to surround himself with some solid individuals, as far as who've been there before. He's done that. But now the point is can his coaching ability transfer over into the pro league? And every time that you mix up a nice little batch of ingredients doesn't mean it's going to come out and taste right. You
Right.
know how that is. Some things you say, man, I thought that was going to taste good, but when you're in the kitchen, it doesn't always come out that way. But in regards to the strength coach and the $1 million, I think the reason why he got the $1 million is because of the intent. They initially brought him in saying you're the guy and probably signed for a couple years or whatever. And then it's like, it was kind of like a going away uh, a little settlement or whatever, let him go. But that's the NFL. The NFL does crazy things. They make their own rules. It's quirky, whatever. We don't know what Urban Meyer is going to do. And you mentioned before about how the players are looking at him. They might look at him a certain kind of way, but at the end of the day, it's a cash league, which is why I said before, I didn't really agree with this strength coach coming on. But when I read some of the things that were taking place and some of the former players at Iowa that were coming out and saying what he was doing and the way he was acting. To me, he was like he was a big bully, uh, picking on kids on the playground, right?
Right.
Which is why I initially said when I read up on some things, and my initial statements were to the factor that dude's not gonna get away with that in the NFL, bro. He's a grown ass man. So I mean, everybody's like, well, he's not doing that in the league, bro. When I make more money than you, right? First of all, and then you're serving me, I'm not on scholarship. That's the other thing. Everybody like, oh, well, he's not he wouldn't have that kind of power. And I think deep down inside, he might have known that too. He's like, you know what? I'm catching hell for this. But these grown ass men, they ain't not gonna be looking at me like that too. It's like, man, you need to sit your ass down somewhere. You are strength and conditioning. You're not the coordinator. You ain't the assistant to the assistant to the assistant. You are strength and conditioning. That means you get me right where I need to be, strength in there too. You're not telling me what I need to do. I think it's totally different strength and conditioning in college than it is in pro. Mm-hmm. It just is because of the money involved. And how are you going to come at a certain guy and be like, you know what? Let's imagine that guy being with Tampa Bay and trying to tell Ndamukong Suh something. Mm. I'm just keeping it real. I mean, what you gonna tell? You ain't gonna. That's why I said I think it's a difference. I really do. And Urban Meyer did what he did. I mean, he had why he chose this man. That's only he can answer to that, and he vetted him. That's great. But on the other end, again, like I said, this is the grown man's league right here. And nobody gonna be like one of the Iowa players mentioned, former player said, well, he was telling me that they had this drill or something where you have to put your hands on the table and he had to push up and like wipe the table. And he said you had to wipe the table like that's what you're gonna be doing the rest of your life, like cleaning up or wiping up tables and stuff, because that's your destiny. And then he's mentioned about maybe he didn't want to make it racial, but that's how he kind of felt, like because it was only him and maybe 2 or 3 other African American players. I mean, I get that, and I'm not never say that what their experience is not real. I would never belittle it, but again, that wouldn't happen in the NFL, bro. You grown ass men ain't playing with that. They're not accepting that. You might as well get punched in the damn head. And I think for the betterment of the team, overall, and as much as everybody like, well, and kudos to the Fritz Pollard Alliance and Association, right, for standing out and making a statement, which really kind of brought to the forefront this situation, and then even with Urban Meyer being hired, and then this gentleman being hired, and what it may mean to the players. But at the end of the day, nah, man, you're not gonna let me. You're not coming in here and tell me what to do. And maybe the guy saw the writing on the wall. He like, man, they ain't gonna listen to me. I'm gonna go home and take my $1 million and lay down somewhere.
Well, to me, it's the audacity that Urban Meyer could say, you know what, I'm here. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and he thought that this was gonna fly. That's the thing that kind of bothers me about the whole thing. Like, I'm the new sheriff in town. I can do what I want, and these players are gonna just listen. And I don't need to consult with them to make moves like this. And it was kind of like an audacity that this is gonna fly. And with this day and age, with Black Lives Matters and all the movements and things of that sort, that's what kind of bothers me about the whole thing. The lack of foresight in making this move.
I mean, but if you notice too, though, and I agree with that 100%. But my point of it is, you notice they backed, and I'm going to say this as I normally would say, they backed up off that bullshit, though, didn't they? I'm about end result, dude, right? I mean, I understand the premise behind it and saying, well, how dare you? How you had the audacity to do blah, blah, but at the end of the day, it's about results. So like, like maybe we need to back it up. Thank you, John. Okay, God bless you. Yeah, but nah, at the end of the day, I'm a results dude. Yeah. And Urban Meyer backed up off it because he knows whatever happened, he had to back off of it because you still answer to somebody else. And again, it comes back to the bottom line. I don't know if this had anything to do with it or if the league had anything to do with them making the change for that coach. But the NFL is always about making sure nothing get in the way of their money. And that means that other players of color, African-American players, or whoever, have a problem with this dude, and it's going to affect somebody, again, striking, missing games. That means money's being taken away from the NFL. Nah, bro, they ain't having it.
Yeah.
They remove it. They remove the problems, ask Kaepernick, and they keep it pushing. They
Yeah.
teach lessons to tell you what they're gonna do, and either you get it, but they will not let anything or anybody stand in their way of getting their paper. Nothing, nobody.
Yeah. The other thing, and I'm gonna get off this, is what bothers me is that a person with that character gets a severance pay of $1 million. That bothers me to no end. Let's go on the other
I
story.
say one last thing about that, man.
Go ahead.
I love you, brother. You know I do. But at the end of the game is the game. And like I told you, when it is the grown man's league and the billionaires boys club, as I like to call them, they make their own damn rules, and that's what they do. We ain't talking about the man working at General Motors for 29 years and getting the gold watch. That shit ain't what it is. It is really straight up just egotistical type situations with cash. As they said, cash, rules everything around me. Dollar bill, y'all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, they make another example, exactly what you mentioned, but another example of them showing us they make their own damn rules. And you with us or you're not. Go on and get you some Cobra. Anyway.
In other NFL news, Carson Wentz finds himself with the Indianapolis Colts. I think that was here's what I will say. The reports were saying that the Chicago Bears weren't trying to get Wentz. That is not true. They were. They just didn't have enough to get him. They have nothing in the cupboards to get anybody at this particular point, unless they cut some significant players off their squad. So he ends up with the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not sure how that's going to work out because after seeing Carson Wentz for the last few years, I think it's more in his head than his physical. And so here you are, you'll get a team that's a bona fide playoff team. Let's see what you can do with it. You're under your old coach. So let's see if y'all can, come up with some more magic. And then J.J. Watt. Here's what I would say to J.J. Watt. Do not go to the Cleveland Browns. Please don't do that. There are reports that he's thinking about going to the Cleveland Browns. Don't go to the Cleveland Browns, bro. You're going to get your heart broken. Don't do it. Go to Green Bay. Go to Pittsburgh. Hell, go to Kansas City. They need some defense. Go to the Titans, the Tennessee Titans. Go somewhere. The Buffalo Bills. That's cool with me. I like J.J. Watt as a player. But the team you do not want to go to is the Cleveland Browns. The mistake by the lake. I'm going to leave it there for Ice.
Oh my goodness gracious. What happened to you? Are you taking over a Black Door this week? Wow. Don't go to Cleveland.
I'm trying to look out for the brother.
I'm trying
to look out for the brother.
But you're looking out for him. But I think you're looking out for your Steelers because I think you deep down inside. Didn't Cleveland beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs this year? I'm just saying.
And the Ben Roethlisberger story is a story I'm not going to even touch this week. But,
I'm just saying, did Cleveland beat Pittsburgh this year as well? So maybe Stefanski is the real deal. Maybe they let OBJ go and they keep moving. So I don't know.
They can even go to the Redskins.
I mean, but why not Cleveland? Why not? Maybe Cleveland turning the page.
You know, Cleveland going to break their heart. They're going to break their heart.
Cleveland was a drive away from maybe, getting ready to go try to play for the Super Bowl, right?
Right. That old Cleveland jinx.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give Cleveland a little bit more credit, man. You might say I'm a hater because I may not be the biggest Pittsburgh fan. They perpetrated the fraud, 11-0. Anyway, but the greatest team in the world. But I'm just saying, I think you need to give Cleveland a little bit more credit. But wherever J.J. Watt goes, he can go. But I don't know. I mean, Cleveland is. I wouldn't just. I'm not a Cleveland fan, but I wouldn't just poo-poo on them picking somebody up like that because they're trying to move forward. And if they do get better, may not be too many more mistakes on the lake. You might want to be scared of that mistake because of coming out the lake, was what I'm trying to tell you, because I can only go off what the results were. And they got that done. I think that's just bizarre. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I'm interested to see how this goes out too, because and I'll probably talk about that on my final spot about about the Deshaun Watson things because that's going to be interesting too. I find it interesting how he just kind of got the blessing of even though they could release him and he wasn't really on the contract, they just kind of blessed him to let him walk. The McNairs did without even trying to trade him. So
Right.
anyway, nobody talks about that, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you on that one. Do you have any notable trades that are in the works? But I know that Fernando Tatis Jr. agrees to extension for I think 14 years and 340 million. And I'm like, is he selling himself short? Because that's a lot of years, and the market's going to go up. In those years, did he sell himself short, or is he going to do a Derek Jeter kind of thing and a long-term contract and get to part of the contract and say, hey, wait a minute, I need some more money?
Yeah, let's go with that because I mean we can bounce around at the hot stove league. They're still trying to get it together. Still some more things to be uncovered, but that is a lot of years. When I saw that, I was like, that like I've seen that system. Magic Johnson, 25 year, 25 years, back, which is like 100 years ago, right? But it was significant and monumental. But with that being said, yeah, I mean the money's there. You gotta take it, right? Right now, I think you're right though. I think down the line, if he continues to produce like he's doing, probably midway or somewhere down the line, he'll probably say, hey, all right, let's change it up a little bit so I can get what I'm worth. But still, he might be selling himself short. But dude, 340, man. I haven't seen him contract, but I wonder what that first year is like. 14 years, I don't know. I mean, you might do the math that way, but maybe he has something on the front end as far as bonus money.
Yeah.
And how it works out. But if he can do that, get that bonus money and get so much money up front, like let's say he get, I don't know, what, 70 million up front or 80 million. I mean, that's a lot of chunk of change compared to you worry about 9 years from now, 9 years, right? If I can get 80 million today, I'm gonna roll with that 80 million. So that was major there. What I found interesting about it was this contract is only like the third richest free agent contract behind Mike Trout and Mookie Betts, right?
Right.
Still, you might say, is he selling himself short to be number 3 on that list? As far as
it ain't bad. It ain't bad at all. I'm just saying that's 14 years. 14 years is a lot of time.
It is, but then normally, let's look at how many times do we see did Magic make the 25 years of his contract?
I think Magic renegotiated.
Right. Unless he was in Chicago with the Bulls,
yeah,
you can know negotiation. But with that being said, I think you're right that somewhere down the line they probably will renegotiate. But hey, nothing's promised for tomorrow. Sometimes you got to jump on it and get what you can get today, right? Because let's heaven forbid an ankle injury in 2-3 years, and you be like, damn, I should have signed that contract. Not Cam Newton, but Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott. yeah. Junior, call Bobby Bonilla. Call Bobby Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla hit the lotto every year. He set up a sweet contract. He ain't never broke. Call Bobby Bonilla. See how he arranged his contract. He's still getting paid from the Mets, and he's been retired for years. Hopefully, we can put this next story to rest for good. This guy was a college legend, and they're still trying to make him a quarterback in the NFL. He bombed at that, went to the minor leagues with the Mets, bombed at that. Tim Tebow officially, I don't even know why this is a story, but I just did this story for laughs. He finally retires from baseball in the minor league, and wasn't even the only. I have much more respect for Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders and what they did in two sports. Michael Jordan tried baseball, found out that they ain't my niche, go back to basketball. Tim Tebow couldn't bust a grape in professional sports at all, but he seems to be this mythical, magical figure that the sports world can't let go. What are your thoughts about Tim Tebow finally letting go baseball?
Well, maybe he has it where I think he's married now. He can go on with his life. He's got a lot of money. He's done some endorsements. He's done a lot of different things. They always seem like they want to give him money because he's like the best kept secret. He's like living the American dream. He's the all American boy that people like to see. And that's I mean nothing wrong with living a great life like that. And if you can take advantage of it and capitalize on it, great. So now, hopefully, he can focus on his wife and his family and still be a good citizen and a good person that is devout in his religion and continue to set the example that he does. When he says he walk away from baseball, he's still gonna find some type of endorsement. He's gonna be doing the damn orange juice commercial, or he gonna be doing, when I go out and buy fresh eggs, I only buy it from this farm here. He gonna be endorsing Right Guard, whatever. It's gonna be something. He gonna be endorsing Invisible Mops, something, bro. That's who he is. They're not gonna let him just walk away. So you might see him walking away from uh, professional sports as we know it, but he gonna end up on some damn infomercial somewhere. I guarantee you that. You watch what I say. Somebody is gonna find a way to give the great Tim Tebow some cash. He's gonna be getting some residual money from some 2 o'clock in the morning commercial with the latest shampoo. That's what it is, man. They think he's marketable. That's what they do.
Mike Wilborn is my boy on PTI or ESPN. But when he said the following comment I'm going to make, I don't think they gave Tim Tebow the opportunity to play quarterback in the NFL, a good opportunity. I almost threw my TV out the window when he said that. How many more chances do you give a guy who really isn't a quarterback a chance to do it? Now, if his complexion was different, I don't think that comment would have been made. I honestly think that.
Yeah, that wow, Mike. Really? Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, he had all the opportunities in the world. He just could not get it done. I mean, everybody gave him a shot. He had a cup of coffee that we was successful with Denver, right?
Denver, the Jets.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots.
Right.
Who else? Who else?
But he's moved around, but the problem is he's been able to produce. Sometimes you just got to give it up, right? I mean, sometimes guys are dynamic. He was a hell of a college
Yeah, but he was a runner, basically.
Right. But then, hell, I mean, I'm not going to compare him to this guy, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. Terrell Pryor was a hell of an athlete at Ohio State University. Yeah. And they won a lot of games. But when he got to the league, I think because he didn't have a great quarterback coach, he couldn't get it done. That wasn't his thing. So sometimes you just have to say, hey, he was a hell of a college athlete, just not a good pro.
Yep.
Gotta accept that. And quit trying to live the dream or let somebody, make somebody something that they're not. I don't know. I just, when I see that, I think that he's received every opportunity. How do you get to go? And this is my last point on this. How do you get to go from being a great college athlete in college football all the way to the point that they following you still in minor league baseball? I'll get some opportunity. I'm serious. Like, well, maybe he could be our third baseman this year. I'm like, damn, I mean, who gets those chances? It just doesn't normally happen. It's not normal.
Yeah. You got a question this week?
Yeah. My question is, as we see all this is going on, when do you think, if it at all or any time, do you in the foreseeable future, it can be the fall, it can be even next year, that sports is going to return to normal?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I was just talking, kind of chatting back and forth with a friend of mine on Twitter, and it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for all of this to get back to normal, man, because it's like we can't do right. We can't do right. I was talking to my brother, who was born and raised in Germany. We were talking this week, and he was saying, hey, they're in lockdown because the new variants is just taking control. Now, we're not hearing that in the news over here. London's on lockdown. And there have been a few people who said they're back in, it's going to go back to, matter of fact, he said it's triple the numbers from last year. Mm-hmm. How many people are getting sick and dying and all that stuff. We're not hearing that. But I do hear predictions from doctors over here saying that by March, it's going to kind of like resurface again and the numbers are going to shoot back up. So with that being said, it may be a year or two before this kind of gets back to what we call normal, because I'm reading the list of the teams in college. You see on the schedule, postpone. The NBA is postponing games. I'm pretty sure if the NFL had kind of stopped this season, we'd still be looking for the Super Bowl happening in the next few weeks. So with all this going on, and the vaccines are not being distributed at a high and quick rate, it could be a year or two or three before this is kind of cleared up. So, what are your thoughts on it, man?
Yeah, I think overall, I just need to really see what's going on with this vaccine. I mean, we hear about the vaccine, and I know here in Ohio they talk about some things or deaths are maybe going down. Also, they're seeing the number of hospitalizations going down. But with all that being said, we still have those. I'm not supposed to say this. Don't tell nobody. But those backroom uh, cigar areas where no mask is required, and if you pay a monthly fee, it's a 24-hour party. Who's watching those folks?
We're not gonna do right.
Yeah, who's not? Who's watching those folks? I won't even mention any names, even though I was at an establishment a couple weeks ago. They offered me a membership. Anyway, but the whole point of it is we have to stop, and we're not going to. People
Yeah.
are out right now, and they're trying to go back to normal. Sometimes you got to make a sacrifice to go back to normal. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel comfortable being around too many people.
No.
And if I do go out, I will be wearing a mask. So with that being said, I think the league is going to at least be, if they're lucky, um, lucky next year. But then again, that's not even foreseeable. I think it's going to come to a point where we might be going at least another year without fans. And I'm okay with that. If you can get back to a full season of whatever you're doing, players are being tested better. I would say, I know they're going to try not, they're going to try to do it regardless. They can't do it because of the money. I get that. Money drives everything. But you might have to go another year without a bunch of fans in the stands just because of the fact that if you really want to get these players and make them healthy and get this thing to where it needs to be. And there might be some protocols where you may not be able to buy those luxury seats. They're not available anymore. You might have to put some cardboard cutouts. You know, that's a lot of money. And they'd be like, well, we run off of money, but maybe you're going to have to up your pay-per-view prices. And the customers and whatnot will maybe be mad. But at the end of the day, they'll pay it.
I was even thinking about this, and I heard this. It was a news story on the radio where, companies are kind of benefiting from not paying the overhead of having people in the building and paying utility bills and the overhead of running a business. And there was a question is like, well, why even bring employees back if they can work from home, still be productive, and you don't have to pay that overhead? So some things may not go back to normal because people have found out that this is probably a better way to do business than what we've been doing before. It's saving me money, it's saving time, it's more convenient for workers. So the normal that we're kind of talking about may not be something that we go back to. You have another question?
Let's see. Let me see. Who do you think right now? Give me a couple of young players that you think in the NBA are doing well, or has anybody in the NBA so far surprised you?
Zion, who's got his game together, still looking for the mid-range game, but he's playing much, much better. You have LaMelo Ball, who's playing really well. I think we mentioned that on the show. Moved himself into the number one spot, I think through injury, but he still, I think, deserved that spot. Those are the only two that I know. Trey Young has been playing really well, but those are the only two. No, Morant. I got to give Ja Morant his love, and then AJ Barrett from the Knicks, who is not like just strive for Randall, but he's like that number two, that 1-2 punch with the Knicks. And a lot of people aren't talking about him because he's being outshadowed by folks who came in with him, with Zion and Ja Morant, who came in the same class. But I think he's overlooked, and also overlooked because he plays for the Knicks. Yours?
Yeah, I'm gonna start with LaMelo Ball. Like I told you before, I didn't know because I was buying into the Ball family and everything, but got to give him kudos because he's really playing good ball and showing me that he belongs in that league and he can be a difference maker. And you got to have some people down there in Charlotte that if you get hurt, you may not get your spot back. You know, that's that type of thing where it's kind of bizarre and crazy. So he's playing real well. Another one would be Shea Gilgis Alexander. He been waiting his turn. He was out with the Clippers early on. They make the trade, send him to OKC. He had to sit behind Russell. Then he had to sit behind the guard from the Clippers. I'm trying to think of anyway, Chris Paul. I'm sorry, yeah. He had to sit behind Chris Paul. But now, when you look at the box score, Shea Gillis Alexander is like, this is my team. And I love it because he waited his turn and he finally allowing this, they're letting his hard work pay off. And last but not least, I called his name before, the young man by the last name of Halliburton out there in Sacramento. I tried to tell you about the Halliburton. Halliburton is the real deal. And a lot of people wish they had picked him earlier. And I think it's a good pickup, was a good pickup for Sacramento. He's kind of playing his way into more minutes for Sacramento. And they can use him, particularly if they decide to continue to build up on the team structure they have. You had that DeAndre, you have that with Fox out there and some other pieces. Maybe they can turn some things around, but I think he's going to be a player for a long time.
Another player is White from the Bulls. Didn't expect him to be this good this soon, and because North Carolina, they churn out guards, and when he left, I'm like, I don't think he's ready. But he's showing that he's prime time. He's ready. Him and Zach LaVine are that 1-2 punch with the Bulls, and the coach has them playing really good basketball, even though their record doesn't show it. They pulled out. They came back last night from a big time deficit and pulled that game out. And their game. And so I'm wondering how they're going to develop over the years.
Zach LaVine, ooh, just nasty in real life and nasty on 2K. That's all I can tell you. You're looking for a team and you're playing against somebody online and teams are not really that great. Check out those Bulls because that Zach LaVine, oof, man.
I always loved him at UCLA. He had the jumping ability, just brash at that level. And you finally see it coming. It was like that in Minnesota, but you can see it here with the Bulls. And I said it before they got rid of the last coach. It was either going to be the coach or him. And the team was like, Coach, you got to go. Yeah. Last second shot, man.
All right. Last second shot is going to come down to, I got to talk about Houston, man, and Texans. I'm saying to try to make this real quick. I'm usually a guy that says you should honor your contract, right? Say that all the time. And we know Deshaun Watson still has about 3 years left on his 4-year deal, $130+ million, whatever it may come down to. And you want him to stay. But then why do you want him to stay when you continue to be ahead of this? You want to be the head of this dumpster fire, right? You traded DeAndre Hopkins, right? Let him go. Now you let the centerpiece of your team, you're letting J.J. Watt go, right? Then you say, well, we're just going to keep doing the great things and we want Deshaun to be a Texan. And you do have the right to hold him to his contract. But then again, he doesn't have to play. So people don't believe that he will sit out a year and miss that money. I don't know if that's actually true. I think he might do it. But then the other thing, too, is you bring in a coach, and no disrespect to Mr. Colors, but you bring in a coach that has been a quarterback deflator wherever he's been. Told you about that before, that Kansas City team that had went a whole year without throwing a damn touchdown to the wide receiver. That's not even, you can't even do that in elementary school. You go through the whole season and don't throw a touchdown to the wide receivers. Situation when he was in Buffalo with Allen as a rookie, he struggled. And last but not least, we think about what happened when the status of the quarterback's stats in Baltimore. It's an ugly mess. They act as if they're old grandfathers or your dad or your old uncle that's going to punk you and make you play for them. That's when I hear that. It's like, you better play. You gave you a con. Wrong answer. If Deshaun Watson plays for the Texans, it's because he wants to. I think he's strong enough, man of morals and character, that if he says, I need to sit out a year to let y'all know I'm serious, I'm good because I have enough money. I'm not stupid. I know what's going on, the way we came up, the way my mom raised me. And last but not least, you guys have to figure it out because if he sits and you all this rights for so long, you still have to find another quarterback. So why wouldn't you be smart enough to move on and do what you got to do? Because you started the dumpster fire and you continue to make bad decisions.
Yeah, good shot. My shot is, there's certain reasons why I don't like people in sports. And here are two villains in sports that I don't like. One of them, Ice already knows, and he roots for their team. I'm going to go with the other one first. Tom Brady, there's a petition out for Tom Brady to return PPP loan money that he got during this pandemic. If you root for Tom Brady, what the hell is he doing getting loans during the pandemic? People are in food lines. People can't keep their houses, their heat on. And this clown is getting PPP loans, $1 million, and you're rooting for him in the Super Bowl. Okay. And then Jerry Jones, his gas company is hitting the jackpot during this Texas freeze where all the power is out and all this other stuff. He's rising the prices due to this. I don't even know if I have to say anything for this particular shot. But now you know it's just not football. Is that why these people are villains and not liked? And I can respect what they do in the sport and all that other stuff, but this stuff, nobody talks about it, and I got a problem with it. Why do these villains continue to profit when other people are suffering? But we buy the jerseys, we root for their teams, but they ain't doing a damn thing to put money in your pocket. You need to start thinking about this, folks, thinking about this. And as Icewater always says, I know his dad used to tell him all the time, pay attention. That's our show for this week. You even shaking your head. You usually have words for this. Maybe in overtime, you can speak to this. Answer this for me. Do you still root for these guys? Why I got this hate for them? It's pure. It's pure. It's stuff like this. We'll catch you next week. Continue to watch Overtime. We'll see you next week. How the hell he getting loans, man? How he getting loans? How he still getting money? How he getting paid? He already paid. How he still getting paid? How's Jerry Jones going to raise the prices in Texas in his gas company? How does this happen, bro?
Hey, man. I want you to have the last word because you were so eloquent in the way that you delivered that. I got nothing to say. All I can tell you in overtime is don't hate your player, baby. Hate the game. I'm just what? Tom Brady. Hey, look, what? Hey, people do it all the time. You talked before about we talked about the legendary Jim Brown. You know, as much as Jim Brown's been a civil rights activist and doing this and that, Jim Brown was like, you know what? Money over here, though. I love you. I love you. Shit, what? Money over here, bro. So guess what? We still, hey, black people, I'm with you. I'm down with you. But the money over here. So you want to go over here? You go over here. The money over here. I'm gonna be over here still like this. I just can't bring out all the time. But Jerry Jones, man, taking advantage of the situation. And the thing about it is we can say, you know, you can look down on them for whatever he's doing and not helping the people, but you got to blame the damn state, bro. Yeah. They're not prepared. We talking about that the other day, and I know how Texas is. With your point of, my brother lived in Texas for years. He was just down there recently, and when all this dropped down, it comes down to they're not prepared. They don't have the right equipment to prepare for stuff like this because they think they're immune to cold.
Yeah.
You in Chicago, I'm in Ohio. We built for this. We ready for this
It's a
all the
regular,
time.
regular routine.
When you go to melt snow on the thoroughfare, wherever it is, you don't have a damn concoction of sand and salt. What the hell sand gonna do? Nothing. But you worried about your pristine streets and your highways, don't want to mess them up. People dying, man. You have them piled up and stuff like that. Put some damn salt down. I told my brother the last time I was in Dallas when they had this storm, when we were there for the Super Bowl, and it was an ice storm. I said, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna buy me, I'm gonna negotiate it first to make sure they let me come in. But when all hell was breaking loose, like right now, I should have done this. I was gonna go out and get to become legally to do what I do in Texas, be certified, right? Give me a company, a la Jerry Jones. Anyway, but get authorized in Texas and then start putting down salt.
Yeah.
I'd have been a hero. I'd have been rich too. But some point when people don't, and people that make decisions don't make wise decisions, we are mad at the dudes that at the top making it. And that's Jerry Jones. I mean, what he's supposed to do? Drop the prices? I'm mad at you. I think he should have something, but here's what I would do if I was Jerry Jones, but he won't do it. I would say, I'm raising the prices so the people got to pay. But if you got a situation and your heater is not on and you need some blankets or you need some food, come see me. I got you. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna put, if you are at this point you displaced and you can prove to me that you are displaced because he has enough money because of him raising the prices. If you can prove to me that you are out of your luck, you don't have any money, I'm gonna put you in a hotel. If you can prove that, because I'm making enough money, guess what? I'm taking care of the people. I'm gonna feed the people. I'm gonna warm the people when I'm gonna get my money. I'm telling you, bro, that you got to do the rivalhood thing, man. And I'm not saying that it's right, and I'm making kind of a joke out of it. But I mean, when we hear these names, you talk about the Tom Brady thing too, and then we talked about some other was it the Lakers that got some money?
Yeah, the owner of the Lakers.
What in the hell? What's going on with our government?
Yeah.
What's going on with the system? And I'm not saying that these companies and these people that have a lot of money deserve to be able to get rich off of it and make a how would I say, make a profit off of it, right? But I think what you have to say is what is wrong with the system first. That's what we got to do.
Well,
go ahead.
Who was Brady's boy in order for him to get that loan?
I'm with you.
No, with the make America Great hat in his locker room. That's how he got that. Jerry Jones, same thing. Same thing. So they got special privileges that other people couldn't get. They just caught Ted Cruz flying to Mexico. He's supposed to be representing Texas, helping with the crisis. Caught his ass flying to Mexico. Now he's trying to fly his way back saying, oh, I was dropping off my daughter. No, you got busted. This is the same dude that Al Franken said that this is the type of dude at your job that will put fish in the microwave at in the break room. How these folks get elected, man? And people wonder why you hating on them. This is why. If it was just football and they weren't cheating and they weren't getting like special privileges, they weren't getting all the calls, no, I wouldn't have any hate. But this is right after the Super Bowl, right? Fresh out of the Super Bowl, all this stuff started coming out. And so I'm looking at, so I had to do my last second shot. I was thinking that we would be talking about these stories, but I'm like, let me do the last second shot on why there's so much hate for your heroes and 43-year-old and all that stuff. You won't allow him to get hit or anything like that. This is where it comes from. And you buy the jerseys and you put the star on the hat and all this other stuff, and they ain't putting a damn penny in your pocket. And when you're having hard times, they're like, they don't even see you. They don't even know who you are right now. Could care less. Jerry Jones probably out on his yacht, warm, cozy, with 3 or 4 blondes around him, just living the life. Ain't thinking about, you don't exist in his world.
So with that being said, I'm gonna piggyback what you said. and definitely again quote my late great father, pay attention. You just said it. You just said it. You said it before. All this was happening after the fact. This was happening before us.
Yeah.
Then the Super Bowl came on. You know, we all glued in. You know, you either want Tom Brady to win, you want him to lose because you don't like him, you hate him, whatever. But we are plugged in. We all plugged, getting our snacks and our drinks together. 45 leaves, right? And then everybody's like, okay, well, now we're feeling good. Stimulus is coming in. We're getting vaccines now. People feeling good. Unemployment, people getting their money and all that stuff like that too. That's that cover to kind of make you feel good. And then everything feeling good. Then Mr. Biden come back and says, well, I can't let y'all not pay all your student loans. You still got to pay them loans. He pulled that cover off.
You better pay them loans, man. You better pay my loans, bro.
He pulled that off, didn't he? That cover.
No, he ain't pulling that off. You better put some money on. You better put a lot of money on mine.
I was just telling you, everybody was like, oh yeah, okay. Like, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. So anyway, but the point of it is, it was covered. Now all of a sudden, they removed the curtain and you see what's really going on. And now we upset. You have to put in the work. You have to see things with a broader perspective. You have to understand what our government is doing. And then should we just be mad, as you said, Puma, at the people that are getting over it and making the coin. We need to be looking at the people that's allowing this shit to happen. How about that? That's what we need to start. As you mentioned, you said we are electing these people, and then we also keep looking at these rules and all these loopholes. So as much as I want to be mad and angry at them or not, what I'm about to do, I suggest to you, which I've done for years because my dad instructed me to, if you know that you can't win the game by yourself and you can't change the rules, you better find some loopholes.
Tom Brady, get that money back. Pay what you owe. You owe that money. You got all those bonuses on there. Get that money back. Get that loan. You ain't need the damn loan in the first place. Get that money back.
And I got one thing to say too. It's not trying to be funny, but we heard from the I guess it was the daughter of the gentleman that created the Lombardi Trophy, and she felt some kind of way because Tom Brady threw the trophy in a drunken state to Gronkowski's boat, and she was upset, saying it was putting down what her dad, did and how he created. I'm like, your dad made 1,900 trophies. If Tom Brady had dropped that thing in the damn water, you know what he would have done? He'd have went in the closet and gave you one from the last time he won. He got 7 trophies. He can afford to throw one. I'm just saying, man, that some of the things, and I understand how she feels about her dad, it's not about desecrating the image. That's what we do. And Gronkowski caught it. He caught it. If he didn't catch it, then we have a whole different thing. But your argument kind of falls on a little bit on deaf ears a little bit, because it was an amazing catch. And then to watch the BS of social media going crazy as he caught it, and then people like, oh,
but that's what like, Tom Brady, no respect.
But it wasn't. But hey, man, come on, man. They make it that way. They make it that way. They make it that way. You don't get mad at somebody. Get mad at the people that allow this S to happen and quit watching it. That's the other thing. Anytime you can say to me, and no disrespect to anybody, you don't want to see anybody have bad karma or bad situations. But when a lady can make a mistake and put some damn Gorilla Glue in her hair.
Make a mistake.
Make a mistake.
Mistake.
Or purposely, whatever the hell she did. But my point of it is, whatever she did, to get that off and have people donate cash and money because they feel for her, and then you go, okay, well, maybe they feel for her because whatever she did, she messed up. So she does that, then she says, well, I'm going to donate some money off the money I made out the donations to the guy that helped me get that stuff out of my hair, and then has the audacity, has the ability to move forward. She had to hire the damn agent. How the hell are you famous?
For being stupid.
What is the world?
For being stupid.
What is this world coming to, bro?
Wouldn't get a dime of my money. No.
She got an agent, bro, now. She got an agent. Look, I'm about to put some shit in my hair. She got an agent. She got an agent over there, bro.
Not one nickel. for being
Oh my
stupid.
God,
Listen,
somebody is paying.
if she had to depend on me to get that out of her hair, she still have it in her hair. Clink, 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 clink.
But you said though, you said it best. Somebody's paying. If it's that easy, shit, like Richard Pryor used to say, he said, I remember I lost $10 my mother gave me. I lost $10. And he said, man came by, man said to me, hey boy, what you crying about, boy? He said, look, mom gave it to you. He said, man, reached in his pocket, gave me $10. I wasn't crying either. He says, I was like, wow, $10. Thank you, sir. He said, I was out there every day. So.
That's the way to do it. I remember a couple of my friends here in Chicago. I didn't know until that movie came out with Bernie Mac and the other cat, the light skinned cat. I think his name is, he was on Empire.
Terrence Howard?
Yeah, Terrence Howard. And in Chicago, and I guess in high school, you weren't required to have trunks on to swim. So in swimming class, they had the all boys and they would have them jump in the swimming pool. And I told my buddy, I was like, listen, I will represent you like a public PR agent and say you were traumatized doing that. And you and a few other of your classmates were traumatized because you had to be naked and jump in the water, and that traumatized you some kind of way, mental health, and we can all get paid. They wouldn't do it, but I would be on TV like, yeah, my client suffered, trauma because they were made to swim without shorts and in the public schools, and they should have required all this other stuff and blah 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 blah. And they just cracked up at me, but I was dead serious. Like, we got a lawsuit here.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, especially with that, because I mean, in front of others,
yeah,
naked and swim.
Yeah, and a grown up sitting there like, okay, take off your shorts.
Okay, Johnson.
Johnson.